Okay. We'll be live shortly. Blessings, everyone. Hi. My name is Lacey Dawn Jackson. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I am glad you are here. I am the Groovy Green Goddess. And yeah, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. I had to make an unexpected trip to town this morning, and town for me is a good 50 minutes away. And I'm really happy that I have just recently recommitted to my meditation practice, because I think I might have blown a gasket if I hadn't been really like zen and in my meditation practice, because I had to drive 50 minutes into town and then 50 minutes back. And I like to have my mornings, especially my mornings here on the radio. I get up early, I sit on the couch, I drink coffee, one of my favorite things to do. And if it's not raining, I go out onto my deck and do meditation, and have plenty of time to get ready. But this morning, it wasn't the case. My patience were tried, and you know how you get to that place where you're doing something and you're not quite sure it's working. Let's say, for example, the meditation piece of it. And all of a sudden, you're on the other side of it. It happens so subtly that usually when I would blow a gasket about something, I'm not. I'm like all zen, and I'm like, just okay, and being all calm, cool, and collected. So thank you, universe. Thank you, meditation practice. So for those of you who are getting that intuitive hit to do some sort of meditation, I highly recommend it. It'll help you from not blowing a gasket. Anyway, I keep saying that because the friend that I had to get, or that I chose to get, I didn't have to do this, but his truck blew a gasket. So it was the truck that blew the gasket, not me. So today we are going to be talking about gaslighting. And what's so crazy is I have never noticed this word before, and I'm a words gal. I love words, and I'm always looking up words. And in the last, I would say, couple weeks, maybe a month, I've been seeing all this stuff on social media about people gaslighting one another, or, how you get those 10 ways to know if someone's gaslighting you, and, what to do about it. And it's got me to thinking, well, where in the world does this word come from? And so I looked into that. We'll be talking about that and what we can do if we are being gaslit. And yeah, it's just quite interesting. Before I get into that, I want to just make sure that I will be doing readings from our chat room over at 12 Radio chat room on Facebook. So if you are not a member, you can go over to 12 Radio community and ask to join, and my producer will open the door and let you in, and you can find my groovy picture there and ask a question, and I will get to you. I also want to let you know that next week I will not be here. I will be en route to Santa Fe, and it is a long time in coming. I have been working almost every day since June, and meditating in there too, you know, and taking moments away for myself to feel zen. But I'm taking this opportunity to go down to Santa Fe, meet a girlfriend down there, and her and I are meeting in Albuquerque. We rented a car. We're going to drive the old, I think it's the Turquoise Trail, instead of the freeway to Santa Fe. And every time her and I get together, we get tattoos. The last time we were together was in England, and we got tattoos together. So I am going to get a tattoo next week, and I love that because I'm addicted to tattoos. It's like a fun thing that I like to do. So we will also have a spa day, and where we're going, they have mud baths, and so I'm going to get in and take a mud bath and bake out in the sun with mud covered all over me. So I am looking forward to that. And then I will be taking a writing workshop and seeing a couple clients down there. I do have a couple availability. I have very little availability actually, but I do have a couple free spaces in between where I could see someone. If you wanted to come see me and you live in the Albuquerque or New Santa Fe area, I would be happy to meet with you in person. I always love to meet my people in person and just connect that way. It's fun. But otherwise, you can always get a hold of me through one2listen.com, where I am there almost every day. And we are having a special tomorrow because it is the first day of autumn. It is the autumn equinox. And what that means is that it is the same amount of hours in the day as it is in the night. So it's very balanced, autumn equinox. So autumn is certainly my favorite season. And I think it's just because there's a chill in the air, and I get to wear my poncho and my boots, and get to play in the leaves, and it's just a magical season for me. And it's always been my favorite season ever since I was a child. Tomorrow, I hope you can tune in to Tamra Child's show, which is at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So exactly 24 hours from now, come over to 12radio.com, where I will be a guest on Tamra's show, Elements of Wisdom. And, you know, she is, that's a great name for her show, because every time I talk with Tamra, and I've had the luck to meet her in person when she was visiting Seattle a few years ago, and we had a great time. But she's so wise, and she thinks so deeply, and so I love my conversations with her. We will be talking about the new moon energy, and we will be talking about consciousness. And so I hope you can join us over at, well, right here on 12radio.com. So let's go into the chat room here before I get into other stuff, and say howdy to everyone. Oh, I love that, Raven. Fairy greetings. And, you know, for some reason, you know, I love ravens and crows, and they have, you know, been with me at a very early age. And so I love your name, by the way. But that reminds me of something that has been happening, I would say, in the last 24 hours as well. I have been, when I'm driving, a chipmunk will like drive right in front of me and cut me off. No, a chipmunk will like run across the road right in front of me. And this has happened 3 times. It happened twice this morning, and it happened once last night when I was driving home from the sauna. And it made me think, what is chipmunk trying to tell me? And when animals come into our lives like that, there's definitely a reason. You know, certainly if a chipmunk just passed my path, you know, like last night, I didn't really think too much about it. I didn't think, well, there is a sign, although sometimes I do think that, oh, there's a sign here. If we see an animal just once, we might benefit from looking up what that metaphysical sign is or what that animal has to tell us. But since it happened 3 times, I took it as a push, a nudge to look up and see what chipmunk means. And so chipmunks, they indicate that something good is coming our way. Now, when I read that this morning, I'm thinking, well, chipmunk, it's a good thing I didn't hit you in my car, because something good wouldn't have come your way, and I would have been really sad if I would have hit that chipmunk. But, you know, there is a very important conversation that I am to really pay attention to, and maybe pay attention to what is not being said as well. So if a chipmunk has come into your life, and maybe, you know, me mentioning it, you're like, okay, what does a chipmunk mean? And this is something that I will carry through the day with me, that I'm going to have a really good day. Something good is coming my way. So I am just affirming that this is your chipmunk sign, that something good is coming your way, and that new changes are arriving very soon. So hooray! Chipmunks are so cute. They are so cute. So, okay. Let's go into the chat room and see what we have. Okay, so Maureen, you are home for the next 8 weeks recovering from major shoulder surgery. So, yeah. And that's without pay. And a lot of times, you know, that's what's happening these days. I know that if I had to have some sort of surgery, I would be without pay. I would still be working. And unfortunately, for many of us, we have to figure that piece out. And it's unfortunate, you know, one of these days, and I still really hold the vision that our healthcare will be in a much better place than it is now. And that's all we can do sometimes is, you know, call our congressmen and you know, those numbers that people post about, you know, standing up for the vote, the majority, or what you believe in. It's really important that we stand behind what we believe in and let our voices be heard. So, yes, what I'm getting about your finances, it's important to not sit and stress out about your finances. And I know that's challenging to do, especially when you have time on your hands. Maybe get some color crayons and a color book and take some time to just color with the arm that you're not recovering with. And if it is your arm that you don't write with, well, practice on coloring and be okay with coloring outside the lines, because that really gets our intuitive abilities going. It also helps stretch our creativity. And yeah, that sounds like it's a very light thing with regard to what you're asking about your finances. But really it is about distraction, since you cannot do anything with your finances at this moment, but distracting yourself from over focusing on the lack that might be there. I do see that it will be okay, that you may have to be a little more frugal than you really want to be. But I do see where you will be okay. And the most important part is to not over stress about it. So that's where the color book, the color crayons, or picking some movies that are just movies that make you feel really good, happy movies, kid movies, and watching those and focusing on those. Also, take the opportunity to sleep a little more. It's okay. It's okay to sleep. You know, we are coming into the season where it is okay to sleep a little longer, because we are going into that that hibernation phase. And you know, it is really important that we take good care of ourselves. And because you are healing something, it's okay to sleep a little bit more than you do. So, you know, there are those things. It is about focusing on, you know, any craft or something that you can do, and not worrying about, you know, the finances, because sometimes we cannot do anything at this moment, and a lot of times we start twirling around that we are worrying and stressing, and that doesn't help matters. That certainly doesn't help matters at all. So yeah, take a chill pill, drink a cup of tea, and just take care of yourself. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, cheers. This is a coffee day, even though I'm already hopped up on coffee because I had a cup going into town. But, you know, through the years, I have stopped drinking coffee, you know, like 2 years at a time. I wouldn't drink coffee. And if I did drink coffee, it was, you know, decaf coffee, and only on a special occasion. And finally one day I woke up and said, you know what, I like coffee, and I do know when to like slow down. Tomorrow I probably will have 1 cup instead of how many cups I've had today, because I, you know, don't want to burn myself out. But, you know, it's all in balance here. If you like a cup of coffee, and, you know, everything that we do, there is going to be something that someone says that isn't good for us. So we might as well do what makes our hearts happy. My heart is happy when I drink coffee and water. Those are like my 2 drinks of choice. Water is number 1, then coffee. Okay, so, Norilla, you are very sweet. She's telling Maureen to listen to me. Just take care of yourself. All of us need to take better care of ourselves, you know. Raven is saying that there is a flea market with crystals down in Santa Fe. So I am on the hunt for turquoise when I go down there. So I will be bringing back some turquoise in my suitcase. And yeah, thanks for letting me know that. I will check it out. Okay. Yes. Geraldine is also curious about this gaslighting thing. Okay. Is it stalking? Well, no, not really. Kind of. But you know what? That's a good segue to, you know, really get started, since it's already 20 after 10. I could probably talk about everything else and not get to what I have intentionally started to do. All right, so gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse. And it's where the abuser manipulates situations repeatedly to trick the victim into distrusting their own intuition. Now, when I read this, I'm like, Oh, I've been a victim of gaslighting many times in my life. If you want to, find out my experiences on gaslighting, even though I didn't ever use that word in my book, but my book, The Groovy Green Goddess, Finding My Authentic Self, talks about not listening to my intuition and second guessing my intuition because of others in my life convincing me that to really doubt what I believe in or what I thought was true. So that is gaslighting, and it has become quite the popular word lately. It's obvious. I even heard it on a show the other day, a talk show, and I'm like, okay, maybe I better talk about this because it keeps showing up. It's like one of those words that have built popularity and everyone's like using it. But so the term gaslighting comes from a play that it's a British play, Gaslight. And it was made in 1938. So this word, gaslighting, has been around since 1938. And this play is about a husband's attempt to drive his wife crazy using a variety of tricks to cause her to question her own sanity and her own perceptions, her beliefs. So gaslighting has been around for many years, and this movie Gaslight has been remade a couple times, one in 1940 and another time in 1944. So, what is on my list to do is to check out this movie and watch the original about gaslighting. So that's where it came from. And it's not just a word that was made up, but recycled. And it's just really a popular word to use these days. And I'm seeing it all over the place. So some of the different aspects of gaslighting is like when And girls can do this to guys. Guys can do this to girls. Moms could do it to their children. Dads could do it to their children. Children could do it to their, parents. So it's not just, the husband driving the wife crazy, okay? But one of the ways that you are being gaslit is when you are saying something, you're having a conversation with someone, and they trivialize what you're saying. Like, you're going to let something like that come between us? And they might say that when maybe we are sticking up for ourselves, for when we are stepping up to our own boundaries and we're utilizing our boundaries, which, oh my gosh, is really challenging for us to do sometimes, and especially when we're not used to it and we know that we have to, and then we step up and we're, getting this gumption to, stick up for ourselves or to say something about, maybe their behavior in a congruent manner, and then bam, they come back and they say, you're going to let something like this become between us, when it might be a really big issue for us. So if someone really cared for us, they would go, oh, honey, yes, I don't necessarily understand why this is, a big deal, but it is a big deal to you, and I support you. At the end of the day, we can always agree to disagree, but when someone is not willing to communicate about something that is really bothering us, or that they just cut us off, that's gaslighting. Another aspect of gaslighting is that denial or that forgetting. So, we're saying something, and this is something that has happened to me before, where we will have a conversation about something that is really important to me. It may not be as important to the person I'm having a conversation with. And it has been really challenging for me to have this conversation because it's like my boundaries. Maybe I feel like my boundaries are being crossed. And then, we don't talk about it anymore. Maybe a week later comes up, and again, maybe the abuser or the gaslighter is saying something or the same behavior, and it's making us feel uncomfortable. And so, we bring this issue up again, and they say, "What are you talking about? We never talked about this before." Or they'll say, "Well, I don't have to take this." And they get on the defensive. Okay. And so if they do that so many times when we are having a conversation with them and they're discrediting what we are saying, then, we start to second guess ourselves, especially if we are just trying to communicate. They may even say, "You know what, you're making this up. This is bull." So it really makes the person that is experiencing this behavior uncomfortable. And if it happens over and over again, we may start second guessing what we even said in the first place. We'll start second guessing, well, maybe I didn't say that. Because people who are gaslighting are trying to turn it on us. So they don't want to have to deal with something. Now, in reading about gaslighting, some people don't even realize that they're doing this. It's just a way for them to maintain control. And they don't even realize that they are acting in this way. Okay, so it may be a learned behavior that they learned from family cycles or whatever, which really is no excuse. If somebody keeps doing it over and over with us, then, there are things that start to happen to our psyche and our self-confidence and our self-esteem that we can't ignore anymore. So, something else that takes place if somebody is gaslighting us is that withholding. Like the gaslighter, or I don't even know if that is the right terminology, but okay, the abuser says that they don't understand what we're talking about, or they just refuse to listen. They don't want to listen to what we have to say. Now, when I started thinking about that aspect, there have been times in my life where I start to talk about something that is very important to me, and then someone else on the receiving end is saying, "You know what, I refuse to listen to this," or it feels like they're on the defensive for no reason at all, because I was really careful about not pointing the finger, but just, giving my explanation or my truth, which I know may not be their truth. But when somebody refuses to listen, or they say they don't understand, or they don't want to talk about it. So in essence, they're declining their own emotions. They're not willing to get vulnerable with you, because we have already gotten vulnerable. And that is sometimes too much for someone. So that is called gaslighting, as if they don't want to give their emotions about something that we have already given our emotions, been vulnerable. They maybe they don't even know how to. And so that is like a protection mechanism for them, that they, I don't even want to listen. I know I'm right, you know, instead of going, you know what, this is my truth, and you can have your truth, you know, because boy, one thing that I have learned in this life so far is there might be something that I really believe in. It is my truth, 100%. And then I come across someone that their truth is 100% the other way. And we can still communicate. We can, you know, choose not to communicate about that because our truths are so different. I also have to question if we are around someone like that and our truths on many different topics are extremely the opposite, then what the world are we doing around that person anyway? We're not serving them being around them, and we're not serving us especially for not being being around them. You know, it causes a lot of frustration, and again, our self-esteem takes a plummet. So another aspect of gaslighting is countering. And this is where the abuser will call into question a victim's memory in spite of the victim having remembered things correctly. Okay? And, you know, I raise my hand again. I have been a victim of this in the past, that I have been made to feel like I was going crazy, literally going crazy, because I started second guessing what I knew to be true. And, you know, sometimes the gaslighter or the abuser will do this to keep us under their thumb, okay? To have them maintain control. So, you know, that's something that we can become aware of. That's when our boundaries start to, you know, wake up and go, wait, this doesn't feel good. And usually if it doesn't feel good, we are feeling something in our heart that just wants us to, we feel like throwing up sometimes, or we get a headache, or our heart hurts, or we find ourselves increasingly depressed because we are not feeling like we're being listened to, especially if it's someone who we are having a relationship with. So it's, you know, it's so important. So if somebody is countering us, it's like the abuser will say things like, well, you obviously never believed me then, or you have an active imagination. And, you know, that one right there has been used on me a few times in past relationships. And I know where that comes from, because I believe in fairies. I know that they're there. I communicate with them. And, you know, I live in more of the magical world than the muggle world. And I've been put down for that. And I have a word for it now. It's gaslighting. I was being gaslit. So I sure hope that if you recognize that you, or you wonder if you've been being gaslit, that you can take some steps to get out of it. And I will give you some of those steps. But these are some of the things that indicate that you are a victim of gaslighting. And now it is the commercial break. Do, 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 do. All right. So, actually it's been many months ago, I've been taking Juice Plus. And Juice Plus is sponsoring Groovy Green Goddess. Thank you, Juice Plus. But I want to just talk a little bit quickly about Juice Plus before we get into whether you're a victim of gaslighting or not. And then I will also do a couple more readings before time is up. But Juice Plus is like you are getting extra fruits and vegetables in your way of eating. And if you do some research, many of the vitamins that we take, we can find in our fruits and vegetables. The only problem is that we don't usually get enough fruits and vegetables in a day to get the correct amount of vitamins that we are supposed to be getting for our bodies. So Juice Plus is a really good ingredient, a really good capsule to take. And if you are wanting to know more about Juice Plus and how you can order it, and you know, one of the bonuses that I love about Juice Plus is let's say that you get these two right here, which I will explain in a free conference call that I'm holding in a couple weeks. So if you're interested in finding out more about Juice Plus, private message me on Facebook or send me an email at Lacey@LaceyDonJackson.com, and I will give you lots of information and reasons why you may want to start your journey on Juice Plus. But just taking these two will qualify you to get free Juice Plus for one child in your household. And it's a research. They're always doing research. And Juice Plus has been around for like 50 years. But if you're interested in finding out more, again, just contact me at Lacey@LaceyDonJackson.com. And I will have a free conference call to give you lots of information on that the first part of October. So that is, you know, sponsoring Groovy Green Goddess. So back to the regular program, which is me, Lacey Dawn Jackson, Groovy Green Goddess, right here. And let's go into the chat room. And I'm just bouncing around. If I don't get to you today, and you wanted a reading, just know that the readings that I'm doing, if it resonates with you, it is for you, okay? Whether it is a different topic or not, all right? It will resonate. Even the chipmunk thing, if it resonates, or if you needed to hear that you were going to have something good happen today and that new changes were coming, then hallelujah, that is for you. All right, so back to, I love that, Norella. You got this, you know, and that's a good reminder. You've got this. We've all got this game of life, and that's all it is. It's a game. And we can take this game serious, or we can have some humor within this game. And it's always important. Humor is the best medicine. All right. So, let's see here. Oh, Cheryl is saying, I know you blessed me with a reading last week, but do you see or feel me being self-employed? Okay, so, you know, that self-employment, I'm getting a lot of clients this week asking that same question, that self-employment aspect. I get a little bit of both for you, Cheryl, okay? Let's go on to, yes, Angela. It's important to sleep. She's saying, I need sleep, and it's okay. And, you know, and this is something that so many of us in our busy lives, we don't give ourselves permission to sleep. We feel that if the baby is down for a nap, that we need to catch up and vacuum, or well, I wouldn't be vacuuming if my kids were down for a nap. I'd be afraid that I'd wake them up. But, you know, doing the dishes or something. So what? You know, be willing to let go of some of the things that we need to, or that we have programmed ourselves to think that we need to do in our life. And, you know, just having a power nap, a 10 to 15 minute power nap is really incredibly powerful. Okay. That's why they call it a power nap. Yeah, usually our body will let us know if we are being gaslit. Our bodies do not lie. When our bodies start to tighten up, or something doesn't resonate, our heart starts hurting, or we get a headache, or we feel like we're just like, you know, tensing up, something's off. Our bodies do not lie. That is like the easiest way to listen to our intuitive self, is to tune into our bodies and what our body what our bodies are telling us. Linda was gaslighted by sperm donor. I love that. You know, I could say a lot more on that. You know, I totally, yeah. Anyway, I'll pass. But I just had to mention that because, you know, there are so many of these gaslighters out there, and I honestly don't think that a lot of them are even conscious about what they're doing. They're more living in fear. I think that they live in fear about, you know, something going on or losing control. Okay? So, you know, that's just my take on it. I was going to do a reading here. I'm going to do just a general reading. And because I want to get to, if you're a victim of gaslighting, emotional abuse, I want to, you know, give you a couple things that you can take with you today. But I am shuffling the cards, and I'm going to choose, whoa, I almost dropped them. Okay, I'm choosing 3 cards. All right. So the first card is the artistic expression card. Artistic expression. And I think it's funny that, you know, the cards are just confirming what has already been talked about earlier in this broadcast. And that is, you know, talking about getting your color book out and the crayons and getting in touch with your creative expression, or doing a craft that you have not been able to get to, or that, you know, life has taken over and you put it on the back burner. You know, this is an opportunity, and it is a wake-up call for you to, you know, step out of your busy life and do something artistically creative. All right. So the second card that is with the same reading is finding the blessing in your current situation. So for those of you still struggling, do I belong here at this job? Do I move on? Do I go on business for myself? Or struggling in relationship with the communication aspect of it? You know, find some blessings in this situation right here, right now. Find what you are grateful for, and find what it is that you are learning about yourself being in this situation. Okay. When we do that, when we're willing to look at that aspect of it, then things will start to shift and change. The third card is friendship. And so it's really important to connect with friends. Maybe there's a friend that you haven't connected with for a while. Well, this is your reminder, your gentle reminder to call up a friend that you haven't talked to for a while and just say hi. You know, sometimes we will call our friends when we need to vent. Oh, I have some really good friends that they will listen to me, and I'll call them and I'll vent, or they'll call me and vent, and that's just what we do. sometimes it's really important for us to remember to call them when we don't have to vent about anything, and we call them and say, you know what? I just wanted to call you because I think you're great. And, calling our friends and connecting. That is a really good opportunity right now to just connect with our friends and to do things, see them, visit them, talk to them. Maybe there are some of you that are in between times, in between friends, changing the old and waiting for the new, and one foot in the old, one foot in the new. This card is also just affirming that friends are coming your way. Get out and do something for yourself. Go to a group, a book group, a bookstore or something, get out social. Okay, so are you a victim of gaslighting? So some of the things to think about is, are you constantly second guessing yourself? That's something to think about. You ask yourself, you're constantly asking yourself, am I too sensitive? You find that you're asking yourself that over and over again, especially after some communication with someone that is gaslighting, okay? Or you find out that you're always apologizing. And then you wonder, what the hell am I apologizing for? Did I do something? So if you find yourself apologizing to your mother all the time, your dad, your boyfriend, your boss, your husband, your wife, really think about it. Why are you apologizing? Especially if it doesn't feel good. For years and years, I'm really careful about apologizing. I think before I apologize. Because I want to make sure that I'm not one of those that, just running into someone and instead of saying, excuse me, saying, oh, I'm sorry. So many of us apologize for no reason at all, or we say, I'm sorry for no reason at all. And so it's really important to, pay attention to that and only say we're sorry when it really is something that we should say, I'm sorry. Okay. I could do a whole show on I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I could. Anyway, if you're a victim of gaslighting, finding yourself withholding information from friends and family so you don't have to explain something, don't have to make excuses. All right. Something is terribly wrong, but you can never quite express what it is. So, you know something, but it's like you can't articulate it. It's like right under the surface. Okay. You have trouble making simple decisions around that person because it's almost like we're like walking on eggshells in a way. Okay, do I say this and get them to say this, or I don't want to start this, and that kind of energy. So, if you're at work and you're often feeling confused and even crazy at work, looking at that aspect. So if you are, a victim or think that maybe someone is doing that to you, whether they're conscious of it or not, it's just good to be aware of that. But there are a couple things that you can do to help yourself. And one of them is reaffirm to yourself your self-worth. Okay? Sometimes we have to put our earplugs on and not listen to anyone else until we can reaffirm how groovy we are, okay? And that's challenging to do because if they don't want to lose control or they want to maintain some sort of control or they're living in fear, then they may, switch it in high. But that's when we really have to affirm to ourselves that, our self-worth is worth number one. Okay, it's the first priority. So leaving the situation, sometimes that's not so easy to do, but you can certainly confide in a counselor, a therapist, call the hotline if it's happening all the time. And I'm meaning the crisis hotline, you know, calling the crisis hotline in your area and getting some advice and some, you know, different techniques and to help you move through that. And reducing your stress. Meditation, like I talked about, the meditation aspect of we will be calmer. We don't stress out as much in our everyday times that we could be stressed out. And picking, you know, different types of meditation to help us through leaving that situation, or through setting our boundaries and really maybe limiting our time with that person. Okay? And sometimes we're married to that person. I know I certainly was way back when. And so we have to deal with them on an everyday basis. And it will tend to get worse when we do start standing up for ourselves and utilizing our boundaries and reaffirming our self-esteem and our self-worth. Because again, the gaslighters run in fear, okay? And sometimes they're not even aware of doing it, and they're just trying to help too. So that's where it gets tricky. But that's, you know, it's not our job to fix them. And a lot of times, if we are in a relationship with a gaslighter, it was because we would rather like point our finger and fix somebody else, because, you know, it's dang hard work to fix ourselves sometimes. But, you know, it's very rewarding. If you focus on you, focus on your authentic self, your groovy self, then, boy, you will be blessed. I tell you, you will be blessed. And when you are put into those uncomfortable situations where you have to stand up for your boundaries or your beliefs or your truth, it may be very uncomfortable during that time of you doing that, but after the fact, you feel so powerful. You feel very empowered because you stood up for what you truly believed in. And it does take work to do that. And I know for a fact that if I can do that and leave some of the relationships that I have been in, or have stood my ground in other relationships because they are a part of my life, and so forth, that if I can do that and stand in my power, I know that you can do it. All right? So I can't believe that we are almost out of time, and I'm just wanting to let you know that you can have a good week. Give yourself permission to. Give yourself permission to take a nap if you'd like. Tomorrow we are having a sale over at 1-2 Listen for the autumn equinox, the welcome of autumn. So there is that new moon energy taking place too. And remember about the new moon energy, and that I will be on Tamara Child's show tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on 12radio.com, where we are changing the way that you and I listen to the world. Have a fabulous day.